Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another weird world, where we talk about how weird the world is. My name is Vince. Hey, how's it going? Today's story is a little bit concerning, and by little, I mean the amount of boundaries that haven't been crossed. Now, no matter where you are in the world, you will find some shady business practices happening. Of course, to scam customers, get ahead of your competition, but one in particular that we're talking about is cutting costs. Now in China, some establishments, now you heard that right, not just one, but multiple, uses straight up sewer oil as cooking oil, also known as gutter oil.
It's all in a day's work for this woman. She opens up a manhole cover and scoops out as much slop as she can, delighted by what she finds.
Very creamy. Is it always this creamy?
Yes, it's always creamy.
I am disgusted.
Yes, you heard that right. Literal sewer oil. The stuff that nobody wants, but establishments are using them as cooking oil.
What others might view as revolting, she sees as a bonanza.
It's hideous. Like a mishmash of bits of put together. And
that is disgusting.
She works in the streets of the southern Chinese city of Shenzhen.
Straight up nasty. I think it's even more disgusting that she has a smile on her face. That's crazy. Because all she sees is money bags. Now, what is gutter oil, you may ask? Well, it's essentially all the gunk and liquid substance that comes from the sewer. Now, I've never heard about gutter oil until recently, but it's actually pretty common, sadly. And it's so common that it's a defined term. Wikipedia defines it as gutter oil, trench oil, sewer oil, and tainted oil are Chinese slang terms primarily used in China and Taiwan to refer to recycled oil. Recycled oil meaning it was used before, but now that it's all used up, definitely not healthy to use anymore, but people are still reusing it. Now, I'm not gonna lie, my dumbass thought this was like literal sewer oil with like poo-poo and pee-pee, and people are using that as cooking oil. But let's be honest, it probably contains those too. And I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty vile. That's up there. That's gotta be up there, like top 3 at least. So how do they filter it? So some of the techniques that they use include boiling, filtration, refining.
Her slop eventually winds up in a processing plant like this one, where it's combined with other animal fat refuse to create recycled cooking oil. Workers put the oil in barrels for delivery to restaurants.
That's gotta smell so bad.
How can you eat this? If you eat it, it can kill you.
See, even the guys who are creating it are saying it's terrible for you. Now, there is another version which uses discarded animal parts like fat, skin, organs, expired meat, which is cooked in large vats to extract the oil, so it becomes cooking oil. I always thought gutter oil was just a name for low quality oil, not actually made from sewage. This is beyond vile. When I went to China, my teachers told me not to eat food from street vendors. I asked them why, and they said the oil they used wasn't edible. They didn't say that it was from the sewers though. Phew, glad I didn't eat any street food. So why in the world does this even happen? Supply and demand. China has a huge population, which means more food is needed to be fed to people, right? One of the ways to cook that food is oil. I mean, of course, it's a staple all around the world, but China has a very large population, and to cook some of that food, you need oil. And of course, in some parts of the world, that supply does not meet the demand. And where can you basically get an unlimited supply of oil? I mean, right there on the street. The oil that's already been used. And secondly, people are fending for themselves. Everybody's struggling, right? Now, I'm not speaking anecdotally, but take it from this guy.
All we can do is accept it. In our current society, everybody tries to swindle everybody else. There's nothing we can do about it.
There's only so much you can take until you're pushed to the edge, but I mean, this is like way off into the edge.
Where stir-frying in a wok is the mainstay of daily meal preparation. The high profit margins from gutter oil production have proven irresistible.
Now, you wouldn't even know about this. You just look at the food and just eat it. And lastly, one of the reasons is because profit margin. There's a much bigger supply and it's way cheaper to get. One of the reasons this should stop is because it's definitely not done properly. It's done in some shady at-home DIY factory.
Illegal production sites are often discovered after people living nearby notice a nauseating stench and alert the authorities.
Like that's the factory. That is the production of gutter oil. That is what it looks like.
Scores of people across the country in recent years for engaging in the trade and seized thousands of tons of the material.
Now hold on. And now the government does care because it's actually illegal to do this. They do track down and arrest people who actually do it. But this should be illegal everywhere, to be honest. And you may be thinking that it's only a handful of places that do this, but it's actually way more common than you think.
Chinese experts estimate that 1/10 of China's cooking oil is gutter oil, which has been found to contain carcinogens and other toxins harmful to humans. Most of it winds up in hole-in-the-wall restaurants and among street food vendors.
And considering how large of a population China is, that's a significant amount. But this is actually crazy. I have morals. I wouldn't even do this to a person that I hate.
The Chinese government enacted a tough food safety law in 2009 that included harsh penalties for producers of tainted products.
Now, the first documented cases of gutter oil started in Taiwan back in the 1980s. 22 people were arrested for involvement in recycling oil, and the worst offender was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Okay, to be honest, at that point, it's better to sell drugs in my opinion. But you won't end up in prison for something as stupid as that. Hey man, what'd you get locked up for? Oh yeah, I was using sewer oil to cook food and sell it to people. Bro, what is wrong with you? And just to further prove how significant this is, in 2011 they arrested 32 people for producing recycled oil and seized 90 tons across 14 provinces. 90 tons. Man, the word of mouth for this spread like wildfire. Dude man, profit margins are not hitting. How'd you cut costs? Why get brand new oil when you can get reused oil? On August 2011, a nationwide campaign was set in motion to crack down on the widespread production and selling of gutter oil. The campaign went decently well, exposing 100 gutter oil manufacturers and arresting over 800 people who are allegedly involved in the production. And then in 2012, another 100 people were arrested and 13 illegal workshops were shut down. And some of the craziest cases are in October 2013, a man from eastern China's Jiangsu province was sentenced to life in prison for profiting heavily from producing and selling gutter oil. And then in January 2014, Zhu Chuanfeng was sentenced to death with a 2-year reprieve. I don't even know what that is. But he was sentenced to death. And then his brothers Zhu Chuangying and Zhu Chuanbo were sentenced to life in prison for selling gutter oil. Honestly, like, is it even worth it? If I were to be sentenced to life, I would probably be for drugs. I would rather do that than selling gutter oil. I mean, that just sounds insane. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, no way, top down and we finish, babe. Count up, yeah, we getting to the cake. Speed up, never got my foot on brake. Boss up, on my mama, this my fate.
Reprieve? I don't even know what that is.